Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Before he was a healthcare IT leader, a nonprofit CEO, and success mentor, Demetrius Short was a first-generation college student at Fisk University, without a scholarship, without a car, sometimes without enough to eat. But he had something that we'll touch on a lot today: grit. And that grit is on display during his 5K run, where he asks participants to run in business suits. The Steps for Success 5K is now in its 15th year. Demetrius Short, thank you for joining us on This Is Nashville.
I am so glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
All right, we'll talk about this run, which is, kind of the reason we got you in the door. And, you're wearing your shirt that says Steps of Success 5K because it's coming up here in a couple of weeks. But how many participants really wear suits?
Wow, it is grown. Year one, of course, in 2010, running from the Fisk Jubilee Bridge down to Rosa Parks. You can't imagine the looks of cops in that year one, 40 cops looking like, is this guy running from something? Until they realize, wow, this is part of the act. So over 15 years, we've had the wacky suit competition. That happened before COVID. We had guys dancing on the stage and the runners picking which suit was the craziest or the most interesting. So we averaged probably around 10 to 15. And the ladies started showing up saying, wait a minute, guys, no way. So we had Miriam come a few years ago, and she kicked off and kickstarted our ladies joining us. So it's a festive event full of suits and sneakers and success.
Have you picked out your suit for this sweaty event?
Just received a suit last week. John Michael Exclusives is our official suit partner, designing our suit every year. It's a different suit.
Wait, you have a company that designs a suit for the run?
Yes. John Michael's Exclusive in Rivergate. Jonathan Snorton, our creative director, owns a clotherer. He's a clotherer and a photographer. So He's been on board designing the suit, and we just finished the design from last week. If
you're wondering why on earth are they talking about running in suits, well, let's get to that story. So the run really is symbolic of your own struggle. So let's kind of start there. Let's actually start well before that. You didn't really struggle growing up, and I mean, we talked a little bit before this. It sounds like you were kind of an all-star. Who was high school Demetrius?
Wow, high school Demetrius was very popular. 3-sport scholar athlete. My father was a head deacon and pastor at a very influential church in Cincinnati. I'm the middle child, 5 boys and a girl, and 2-parent household, but athletics was what steered our family. Of course, 5 boys. I mean, let's just get and use sports to help push these great kids. So it was no grades, no play. So my parents used that as the litmus test for keeping us focused, and me being a quarterback. I mean, quarterback's got to be smart.
Well, you were the quarterback.
I was a quarterback, yes. I was a shortstop and third baseman and the point guard, all with a 3.6 GPA. And won Mr. Mount Healthy 1992, which is the highest award. It's like the homecoming king, to be voted by your peers, the teachers, and the community, to be named after the school. I was Mr. Mount Healthy 1992, the biggest honor a student can achieve. So, hey, I wasn't struggling as much. I'm popular. I'm playing sports. Pretty smart. So college for me was like, hey, D1, D2, D3. We're not going to have to worry about Demetrius paying for school. He's either going to go on his brain, on sports, or both.
So you had all sorts of opportunity in front of you. What kind of opportunities came your way?
Well, I wanted to go into computer science or be a doctor. I interned through a program that started in my 10th grade of high school, leadership development, sacrificing Saturday mornings after a long game Friday night, getting up at 6, 7 in the morning, catching a bus to University of Cincinnati to learn about being a data analyst, learning about being in the room with CEOs. So it was personal and professional development for me in the 10th grade, long before what we're experiencing now in the world. So that was, as a 16, 17-year-old, I did not know that that was going to be one of the things that inspired me to give back in the platform for personal and professional development. So my first job was a summer data manager with AT&T.
Wow.
My friends
In high school?
In high school. My friends laughed at me. I made a vow in 10th grade, nothing against McDonald's, but I just had this feel. I said, I'm going straight to the boardroom. And they, of course, they laughed. Demetrius, everybody picks up a summer job. I'm a lifeguard.
Right.
And I said it. They criticized me, Demetrius, you're crazy. And my 10th grade year, my first job on my resume was a summer manager at AT&T, making $300 a week back in 88, 89, making more than my big brothers. Then I knew the power of speak it, believe it, do it, and achieve it. And that was my first job and professional experience. Again, I skipped burgers and the fries and all of that.
You weren't laboring out there cutting grass with the rest of us.
Not at all.
Okay, well, so you head off to college, and I think you assume that you're going to go play one of your 3 sports that you are great at. What happens?
Yes, indeed. I learned a very valuable lesson. My dad would always peek in every now and then and say, Demetrius, are you checking? No, I'm Mr. Mount Healthy, remember? Everybody does things for me. Not in a cocky way, because I was humble, very, very humble. I served, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. My dad taught us we were very polite. You can go to Cincinnati and the short kids, we had that toughness because the pressure of being someone, being a pastor's kid.
Because your dad was known.
We were known. I could do no wrong. I mean, one day in practice, I cussed, and I didn't even know it. Kind of slipped out because I missed a play, and I'm looking like, what? And it got around the whole school. Demetrius cussed. But that showed me how much power and how much potential people saw that I had. Mm-hmm. I just had to get there, and I felt D3, all the letters are coming in, and I thought—
Letters from schools.
From schools, Brown, Dartmouth.
For football, baseball, basketball?
For both. Scholar, athlete.
So I see D3 because you might play 2 sports at a—
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm 5'9". I mean, being a quarterback, I mean, the Russell Wilsons, the Doug Flutys, right? I mean, I just knew that I just wanted to play.
Yeah.
But it was more about the education. It was more about
playing so you could get a great education.
That was it. Just save mom and dad a lot of money because I'm smart.
And they're not worried because you're Mr. Mount Healthy.
No
so,
way.
Yeah.
No way this 3.6 is going to— we didn't have a plan B. No option.
Yeah. So how do you end up here in Nashville?
Wow. Found out that I just put my foot on autopilot. As my dad was saying, you might want to check. And so the lesson I learned was own your own. People are there to help you along the way, but an occasional check-in, hey, did my film get to this school? I learned that when you can no longer do for sometimes it's next man up, right? Tom Brady, right? If the quarterback doesn't get hurt, we never see the Tom Brady that we experience today. So you got to be ready. And I wasn't. And the deadlines for applications, I'm calling schools. My dad's mad at me. What? How are you going to get in school? I'm trying to hey, we've given all our scholarships out, pay, prove yourself, and then come back. So we didn't have the money. I didn't have, $40,000, $20,000 to pay my first year of school and then try to work my way onto the practice field the next year. So that's how I figured and found my way at Fisk. 90% of the black doctors in Cincinnati graduated from Fisk Meharry, and my godfather knew Dr. Howard Melvin, who looked at my resume and said, he should go to Fisk. And my first thing was, do they have a football and baseball team? If so, sign me up. And he's like, no. I'm like, I'm not coming. But I surrendered. My dad said, just get in to keep your eligibility. Mm-hmm. And I came to Fisk. Didn't want to meet anybody. I'm only going to be here for a semester, and I'm going to transfer to play ball. And I didn't have a scholarship, and that's where the trouble and the pain and the perseverance all came into, is walking into that financial aid office and saying, how are you going to pay for this? How much are books? Athletes don't see the bill. And so I learned the traditional way for a parent to work 2 or 3 jobs to put their child through school, I learned how much it costs and how much of a sacrifice it is for the traditional person, not the athlete.
If you're just joining us, I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. We're spending this hour with Demetrius Short. He's a healthcare IT leader here in Nashville, but also the founder of a race coming up, Steps of Success 5K. That's part of a nonprofit he leads that works with students and tries to put them on a path to success. So when did you realize at Fisk that you were kind of in over your head?
After the first semester, when I got to Fisk, I had an epiphany. I walked into the library and I'm saying, wow, the whole library is full of Black books. So
by like Black authors?
By Black authors. I mean, I'm 17. I did not know what a historical Black college and university at HBCU, didn't know anything. And so I'm walking around and I look at the statue of W.E.B. Du Bois and I'm like, he went here? John Lewis went here? And so I kind of surrendered to this big, like, aha moment. Like, how am I 17, a Black young man from Cincinnati trying to make himself better, and I don't know these influential people other than 30 Days of Black History in February? Fisk opened the door for us to be, 100% Black, 365 days a year. And I walk in that library and read these books, The Souls of Black Folks and Nikki Giovanni. And that kind of took a little bit of the pain of not playing sports, especially when I got in front of employers. And they would say, oh, you're going to Fisk, great school. And I'm going, if they know about the power of this university and I don't, maybe I need to settle in here and give it a shot. But I did not have a scholarship, no car, financial aid, Parent Plus loan, all the loans you can get is racking up. And I go from a 3.6 to a 1.8 GPA because I had to choose to go to work and pay myself through school or take that calculus test, and I failed calculus twice.
Wait, so your work? What kind of work are you doing at this point? I'm
interning. I'm at Caterpillar Financial with Jim Beard, the CEO of Cat Financial. They're now by Lowe's, but they were on Murphy Road where the Sarah Canning building is. Mm-hmm. I would walk from Fisk. I always kept a job. I was sharp. Remember, in 10th grade, my first job was a summer manager. So I'm blue suit, white shirt, briefcase.
So you're walking from the Fisk campus.
Yes.
Across the bridge there over to where Sarah Cannon is now, where Cat Financial, and you're working in an internship that obviously would provide you with opportunity, but you're over here failing out of calculus.
Exactly. Doesn't kind of a double narrative, right? I always kept a good job, but that degree, I did not want to be a statistic and drop out because I knew without that degree, when it comes to that job going full time, the first question they're going to ask is, did you acquire your degree? And so I did not want that to be it. But I'm walking every single day. The students thought I was a teacher on day one. I had to pull my license out. Who is this old looking dude? He's 18. So I always had that rapport. I was always polished. I had the business acumen. I just did not want this. I just didn't understand the story of why I'm now walking. My parents didn't know, how can the pride of Cincinnati, Demetrius is going to make us proud. And I'm sleeping on the floor. I'm walking, 3-4 miles a day, sometimes 2 times a day, there and back in between classes. And I was not registered, Blake. I went to school 2 extra years without being registered.
Well,
every single day.
Explain that. You're saying you were in school, but you were kind of failing out of some classes, and then you were going to classes not actually registered.
Nope.
And doing what on campus?
Not financially cleared. I went to class. A teacher looked at me and said, Mr. Short, you're not on my list. And I had tears in my eyes. I said, can you please take my grades on the side? Wow. In hopes that I will be able to make enough by the end of the semester to be financially cleared. And it didn't happen for almost a year and a half. I went an extra year and a half. And people say you wasted time. I was being cultivated. Something big was happening into me. And the test was, am I going to quit and go home, get a decent job? And that's what made me hunker in. And people called me crazy, including that teacher. But I didn't waste time, and it made me who I am today.
Well, where are you sleeping?
Wow, let me tell on some people now, 'cause I just told Fisk the story of me sneaking into the cafeteria. I was the keynote for the W.E.B. Du Bois Honors Convocation. What an honor, 25 years later, to be asked 3 months ago to come back to the campus and relive the pain, relive everything. And I'm sitting there telling these students, and I opened up, I said, I apologize, Fisk. And everyone's like, where is he going with this? I said, I apologize, Mr. Duke, Mr. Dorm Director, for sneaking into your office at night. And my friend Demetrius opening the door, an RA who should not have done that just to allow me to sleep. I'm sorry, President Clark, for sneaking into the cafeteria not registered and eating some chicken wings and some cereal just to feed myself. I'm sorry, teachers, who I lied to you because I didn't know how to face the fear of being a failure. And I said, I'm just doing this because I want to get a double major or just kind of finagle my way through. That was my opening. And everyone's looking at some teachers who knew me then. They're hearing this story 25 years later for the first time. They never knew what I was doing. So I'm releasing this story. And my friends who were there called me crying, Matt, why didn't you tell us?
Wow.
I said, because if I told you, you would have saved me. And I didn't need to be saved at that time. I needed the pain to push me to my purpose.
Well, we're with Demetrius Short this hour. He's a nonprofit CEO, a healthcare IT leader here in Nashville, also the founder of the Steps for Success 5K that's coming up in a couple of weeks, which we'll talk about. When we come back, we'll kind of trace some of those steps that became this movement that has become his life. So stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Years after graduating from Fisk University, Demetrius Short returned to retrace the miles he once walked in a suit and sneakers, carrying a briefcase toward what he hoped would be his future. And on that walk, he experienced a divine moment that reframed his struggle as his preparation was really for his calling. So we're going to hear that powerful story behind the Steps of Success 5K and how Demetrius turned a painful period of his life into a way to share purpose with others. Demetrius, thanks for being with us this hour.
Thank you.
So tell us about how you decided that you needed to commemorate your journey walking from the campus of Fisk to your internship with a race where you're running in a suit and tie.
Yes, when I finally graduated, thank you, Lordy, and you know what that means. I wasn't magna cum anything or summa. It was, he finally made it out. I'll take it. Double major in computer science and business.
Yeah.
But I got the job with IBM over all my counterparts.
Wow.
Not the best, GPA, but they didn't want to hire a GPA. They hired me. And I believe the perseverance and all I've been through made me sharp enough to get that job. I'm making $62,000. I married my longtime friend. We moved to Greensboro, North Carolina. And I come back now, a seasoned IT worker, employee, married to my beautiful wife. And I come back to Fisk 4 months after my biggest struggle. And I walk the same routes. Tears are coming out of my eyes. I'm swinging. I can see it now. I'm swinging at the air because now I'm seeing the sleepless nights, the walks, the agony, the pain, the defeat, the depression. And I'm like, make this make sense, bro.
You say, why did I have to go through that?
Yes.
When you were in the middle of it, it just was sort of one day after another. But looking back, you think that is a painful period.
We called it moving forward by giving back, was what I coined at Fisk as the young alumni chairman from this experience. It was there when I walked it And the divine connection, what spoke into my spirit was every step you took was a step towards your success. It was a test to see, were you going to quit? Unbeknownst to you, 25 years later, you'll be CEO of a nonprofit helping to fix and combat and commemorate your struggle and help other students break down barriers to their success. And so I'm a marathon runner now. I'm running 5Ks, and I had this epiphany. I became the young alumni chairman at Fisk University, helping. God gives me this position. Now I'm the top leader for student success at the university, the young alumni, helping students matriculate through the school and into corporate America. Look at the connections now that are happening that would not if I would have quit. And so now I'm a very powerful, influential person helping current students while I'm at IBM. And I needed funding for a program I wrote called the 50-50 Mentoring Program. It was connecting alum to current students, doctors to future doctors, lawyers. Hey, alum, will you take Blake? Hey, he's a freshman, wants to get into your industry. Boom. But we didn't have any funding for it, and that's when I vowed, you know what, I'm going to run a race. My wife saying, you're spending $2,000 and $3,000 running these 5Ks. You need to pick a less expensive sport. But I said, wait a minute. I'm going to run in a suit. I'm going to run it the way I walked it and raise money for this program and help these students. And that was in 2010, the inaugural Steps of Success 5K, barely 100 students. And we ran from Jubilee Bridge down to Farmers Market and back. Barely raised, we raised $10,000 and I think we profited $250. So I'm really discouraged because I don't know anything about being a nonprofit leader. This is a lot of work for $250, but we gave that scholarship away and we stayed with it. And last year we did $119,000.
Wow.
The students started saying, the money you're giving to us from the race is good, but the workshops you're creating, I started creating these little afternoon, get on the phone and I'll talk to you about this, and bringing guest speakers in. And they saw that more valuable. And that's where I saw I need to make the race the fundraiser, and Transformation Life Center became the nonprofit. And now I'm a CEO of a nonprofit working in IT and helping college students, matriculate through college, internships, resume writing. I now have the nonprofit side to get in front of more students. We expanded from Fisk University. We're now in 7 universities. And it's just a joy to see what little act of humility for me to give back to one student. Now I have thousands of students, raise thousands of dollars. We've helped save students from being purged. One year, a student cried and called, can I get my scholarship? We went over after the race, and he was $1,000 short. He was going to be kicked off campus that day.
Wait, at the race, he's approaching and saying, listen, there's an immediate need.
Yes, he won the scholarship at the race. It takes time to process these funds, right? The race is on a Saturday. He called me Monday, and I'm like, hey, we're still working on it. He said, Mr. Short, they're going to kick me off campus. I said, I'll be right over. Grabbed my checkbook, told my board, I've got to do this today, and sat with that young man in line and wrote that check for $1,000. And he looked at me and said, Mr. Short, he called his mom. He said, I would have had to leave campus today. Your race kept me in college, and he graduated. Be a smart kid, 3.2. Mom and dad just don't have enough. I've done the Pell Grant. I'm working. So financial barriers are barriers that help attribute to the dropout rates, because students just get discouraged and they just drop out and say, I'll come back in a semester. And guess what? They never do.
Because the most likely if there's a gap in their education, it's going to be permanent.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go for a second. You go back now to Fisk probably more often than you used to, but a few years back, you after you'd started the race, you went back and saw some of those places that you did sleep during your years at Fisk. Here's a short clip when you were coming into, I think it was the dorm director's office for the first time, and seeing the couch that you called a bed many nights.
My first time back in this office in probably a decade or more. It's kind of resonating with me right now of, what I had to go through. Man, did it for myself, wouldn't give up. My parents didn't know, but I would just sleep in here, man. This would be some real hard soul searching.
You know, you have this student who comes up to you after your race and says, hey, I think I got a scholarship out of this. Can I get that, like, an advance on that? I mean, how common have you learned your experience really is that people are barely hanging on, getting through school?
My wife and I called August, the month of August, hell month. Our phones ring constantly. Mr. Short, help me.
Because this is when the bills due if you're going to start school.
You cannot step foot on this campus until, and I get it, right? You know, there's a lot of debt on college universities. Fisk in itself would wipe away debt, and now their endowment, it impacts their bottom line. So every year you're letting 500 students go by, you know, times 100,000, you know, I get it. And so August, we just kind of settled down and I said, here it comes. And I'm talking Belmont, Meharry, Fisk, TSU. Students would call me and say, my aunt went to school with you. They told me to look you up as soon as I set foot on campus because you will help me. Wow, what a responsibility.
But it seems pretty, I mean, it's heavy. Because everybody could use a hand. How do you sort through who really, you only have so much money to go around. Who to help?
And that's where we are right now. My heart's so big. One year, I think I gave away $17,000 worth of tickets for the race.
Gave away. In other words, didn't charge enough.
Told every student, you know, my heart got in the way. I said, I'm not going to charge a student. How dare I add to their plot? Until my accountant came to me and said, yes, the race went from 400 to 800. But Mr. Short, you gave away 17,000. I was like, oops, your heart's too big. Your heart's too big. So I had to settle down as a CEO, went to Harvard, got a executive leadership degree from Harvard University to learn about board development, how to be a better CEO, right? The nuts and bolts of how to drive this and how to turn this thing into a movement where we can get more students. We need to increase this race this year. Year 15, we want to profit 80,000. This is a big year. 800 runners. We did 591 runners last year. So that extra $60 times 300 will help us give another scholarship, help us accept 10 more students into the Leadership Academy. Our scholarship weapons, our feet are actually weapons. I ask everyone jokingly, can I borrow your feet for 3.1 miles to help a college student? And they say, wow. I said, your $60 combined with other runners helps a college student eat, pay off some debt, books, and position them like Fisk did for me.
If you're just tuning in, I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. We're spending this hour with Demetrius Short, who is the founder of the Steps of Success 5K, but also of the Transformation Life Center, which we've been talking about. You were saying that obviously there is this great financial need, but you've got a lot of students who say, I'll find a way to pay my way through school, but the connections are what I need if you're really trying to lead me to success. What have you found there that may surprise you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, when freshmen and sophomores say, you know, on their testimonials that Mr. Short got us into rooms we would never have been in at the age of 16 and 17, wow, it's opportunity. When the doors open, it's not just money all the time. It's being at an event with the Nashville Chamber, and the Chamber gives me 10 free seats that are $500 a piece. My students don't have that. But for me to put 10 students in kind because of City Current, Signature Breakfast, the Nashville Chamber, anyone who says, D, I'm going to pay, you have 2 students who I can put in this room with me. That knowledge and information on how to network, that the very person or the very thing you may need is in the room.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work? That's what we're teaching them through our networking classes. It's 56 hours the students go through after the race. These amazing college students we call successors. We don't call them students. It's the Pathway to Success Leadership Academy. 56 hours. Students get up on Saturday mornings, like I did, Blake. Remember, no handouts.
Yeah.
Get up, 8 hours of training. We bring in CEOs, thought leaders. They go through mock networking events. We did one at Hutton Hotel, and my wife was laughing because the students didn't even know that when a tray of shrimp or crackers come by, you don't have to. We had students like squirrels sticking shrimp. And my wife said,
felt like they had to eat the hors d'oeuvres.
But we laughed. But Blake,
they
did not know. So we're preparing them because we're the practice ground for them.
I wonder if there's something to this. I saw a clip of Barack Obama sort of talking with a group of men. He was sort of saying the thing that I learned and that I want to sort of pass along, and this is kind of like to other black men, was like, you belong here.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of, if you think these people who you've seen on TV or you know have this title are so special, all you have to do is go spend a few hours with them. Like, this is just another guy.
Mm.
And that you belong in that room just as much as anyone else.
I mean, confidence, the 206-page curriculum that we take students through, the soft skills, the communication skills. One thing that we're doing now is really building confidence. And in the BIPOC community, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and then you stack on underserved, low and moderate income on top of that, right? Free lunch, mom and dad's making less than 30 or 40,000. Students are Pell Grant eligible. That's the national indicator of poverty, not poverty, of low income. Mm-hmm. The cute way of saying you're not making out the money. So we target those students. Our students are not getting out in Teslas. Our students are not saying, Mom, I can't wait for dinner tonight. Our students are saying, Mr. Short, can I get an extra bag of chips for my sister? We didn't eat last night. My wife is watching students wear the same clothes 2 and 3 days. We're watching college students who struggle with mental breakdowns in the middle of sessions because of the pressure that I know no one here, as Onelia said, my mom is in Jamaica. You are my family. And she was 85 pounds on Fisk University's campus going through a struggle and called out for help. And we were her family and her support. So when you wrap all that around, confidence is one thing for us, is that when I went to IBM, I was the one of 2 black males on my floor. And I had an incident when I was setting my desk up on day one, Blake. The person in the cubicle next to me who had never seen 5 black students walk in, my beautiful mentor, Robin Massey, black female at IBM in the early 70s and 80s, right? It was white male dominated. She held her own. We were like the hidden figures. We walked in and the lady said, what are they doing here? She called me a they. And I put on my screensaver. You probably don't even know what a screensaver is. I put this on the screensaver because it offended me. I put, I'm here for a reason. By my work, my reason will be made known to you. I'm not a checkbox. I'm smart, I'm educated, and I belong. So we pass this forward to those who don't have an older brother or sister or their parents didn't go to college. You belong. You are somebody. And like what Barack Obama did, we say they have to see who we want them to be. So bring the plumber. I bring the Tennessee Titan. I bring the person who made some bad mistakes. They all sit in front of these students and said, one decision I made 30 years ago cost me this. And they learn through these valuable lessons. And one is, you belong at the table.
Our guest is Demetrius Short. He is a healthcare IT leader here in Nashville. He's also a nonprofit CEO and the founder of the Steps of Success 5K. We've got a little bit more time with him, but we need to take one more break, and we'll get more into what's really become, a mission that's far bigger than just the campus of Fisk University. This is Nashville. Stay with us.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. From launching the Pathway to Success initiative to inspiring college students through the Transformation Life Center, Demetrius Short has taken his rough college experience that we've talked about, sleeping in couches, barely making it, into an organization that mobilizes students and starts looking at a path to success a little bit differently. Demetrius Short, thank you for joining us again. What have you found really are the keys to success that a student may not know about?
Being open to coaching and mentoring. Your 4.0 means something, but it really doesn't when you cannot take your knowledge, the book knowledge, because everyone says go to school. And so we have students right now working at baristas with a 3.9 GPA on billboards at their local campus right here in town. And they're calling me saying, Mr. Short, make this make sense. Because the Sally Mae I did, and they're mad. Mom, I can't get a job. I said, well, we call it Adulting 101. There's a big world out there of people who are being laid off, hard times right now for some. And you're 22, wanting to be privileged because you have a little piece of paper with University X on it. Who cares? Can you take those skills? Can you listen? Can you continue to invest in yourself? Personal and professional development is not what Pathway to Success does. It's what corporations do. We just had a student who was invited to a corporate training last Saturday. We called her. Will you get up? Yes. And she called me and said, Mr. Short, this was so great. And I said, what did you learn? She said, wow, I thought our leadership academy was the only development that I needed. And I said, that's why I recommended you, because I wanted you to always know and learn that you can learn and learn and learn and learn. Don't always strive to be the smartest in the room. You come in one way and go out the same. I want to be the not so intelligent one because I want to walk in one way and walk out with a plethora of information and knowledge that can really do it. So today with TikTok, ChatGPT, and all these things are like makeshift boxes for these students to think they have knowledge and wisdom.
Yep.
I say always subject yourself to coaching, mentoring.
It's like, I mean, I could see how it may feel like a privilege. It makes total sense to me to I always say, like, listen, be brave enough to ask the dumb question,
Yes.
you know? But you know, I'm seen as someone with some experience and probably knows a thing or two. I can imagine that as a college student, when you're trying to make your way, you don't want to sound dumb. So how do you coach that out of them to be a sponge rather than coming in trying to seem like they know more than they do?
Yeah, it's preparedness, and it's really checking your ego. We do a temperament assessment. The very first session we do is called Know You to Grow You. And I get up, welcome to day one of the Leadership Academy. And how many in here feel inspired that you're going to lead the world? And they're like, yeah. And then I say, well, before you can lead the world, you have to learn how to lead yourself. And we take them through a temperament assessment for them to know who they are, the introvert who's afraid to open their mouth. And we say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. You have to put work in here because your interview may be a virtual one. And don't let that setback stop you. You, Mr. Loudmouth, you always got something to say. You're trying to show out. Be quiet, please. You don't have to show out in here.
I feel attacked.
Because sometimes the person, and I'm the one, they're like,
Right.
Demetrius always talks. And I'm like, but I'm not the smartest person. And sometimes it's the quiet one, sitting in the corner who has the solutions, but just have to get the courage to work through that. So Know You to Grow You It's about them knowing their, like the Myers-Briggs and how they're wired, because how they're wired becomes the way for them to know and work through their good and their bad. And those are the things, as I always say, stop rewarding your child. You got a 90% on the test. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. And I always say, no, that child got 10% wrong. We never look at it from that, because it's the 10%. What you didn't go back and say, Johnny, before we go to Chuck E. Cheese, let's go over these 3 that you missed. Because guess what? Those questions may just be on the final exam. But what? We want to reward 90 average? No. You weren't called to be average. You have the potential. We want to maximize that potential. So we want them to be able to move in rooms and be comfortable with not always being the smartest, not always being the one that has to have the solution. So a lot of team building, we put them into rooms where they have to work together and learn how to leverage different skill sets together to ultimately accomplish the goal.
I think there was a time where everyone said, listen, college degree is non-negotiable. You got to have one to be able to do anything. How do you navigate whether it really is worth the time, effort, and major expense to get the college degree?
Yes, I used to say that. I was very vocal until I realized, you know what? Sometimes those first 2 years, you're taking intro to college. Those are really individual. Living on campus is getting away from mom and dad and learning some of those social skills. Discipline. Do I go out and party Thursday night and I know I have a test on Friday? But when you get to your junior and senior year, you're really in your core competencies, and 2-year degrees are not bad at all. We actually work with Dr. Jackson and Nashville State. I apologized to her. I said, you know what? We didn't consider the 2-year degree. Not everyone is groomed to go to a 4-year university. So now what we ask in 9th and 10th grade, we say, who in here aspires to go to a 4-year? Those who raise their hand may go into a different room. Here's your pathway track into college. But who in here, you're still a successor and great, feel that skills and trades in a 2-year is for you? And guess what? We shout them out just as much, because those individuals are still successful. Look at all the cranes downtown Nashville.
Yeah.
You can be a project manager, make $85,000 with just a certification. And those things are good. So we embrace and say, whether your pathway was 4 or 2 or skills and trade, there's a place for you. And Nashville and the world needs those type of individuals also.
But it seems like there is something, whether it's actually completing a degree or not, there is some stage of life that needs to occur there that you're talking about. How do you get what you get at a school where you go off and kind of do your own thing, have to be responsible for yourself? Is there a way to do that without having to pay somebody $50,000 a year to get sort of the training just as sort of in adulting almost?
Yes. I mean, today I wouldn't trade my experience. I mean, it's my wife, she likes online. She's getting her PhD at Trevecca, and she was top 10% for her master's at Alabama. She would drive down, right, to try to get the experience. But what she says she values most now at 48, about to get that PhD, and Trevecca's right down the street, is that I can walk on campus. I can go to my advisor's office and be in the room, because it is a gap between the virtual. Some people can do it, but I'm just a tangible touch and feel kind of guy. And so there's so many types of virtual training now. I mean, my Harvard degree, we did 8 years worth of work in less than a year and a half. And I have Dr. Arthur Brooks, Mr. Happy, he was my professor. We did it all digitally for an hour and a half. So there's so many different platforms available now for us to learn and be enriched. Not everyone can, learn that way, but there's just so many other things with Zooms and all types of online experiences for you to continue to develop and grow yourself. So we just tell the students to be open. That $10,000 cost to go there versus $2,500 online, that's a big difference. And if you can subject yourself to that type of learning environment and learn and hunker down and get it, you can still come out with the same core competencies that you can apply to your professional and personal life.
Is there anything you're seeing in the, I guess we could call it a generational thing, like what the students that you're working with, what do you find that they struggle with most?
It is that preparedness. It is the skills that they're lacking. I have a 21-year-old at home. The texting, the type this in, go grab a drink, and by the time you come back, ChatGPT has all your answers, has really taking thinking and soft skills out of students. Hey, boss, what? Hey, can you finish an email? This is the interviews, the mock interviews we do. You showed up for an interview with a hoodie on? And I mean, we make them look back at all of this training, and they laugh and they're scared. But we're like, do you think Demetrius showed up for that interview with IBM unprepared? I was overdressed. I was ready. I had my notes. I was prepared. You sometimes have one shot. And with a 21-year-old at home, I'm living it myself. What COVID did, the compound interest of the whole world and their social emotional learning being attacked and the trauma-informed things that they're going through, I see a significant difference in the type of initiation students take. Sometimes we have to text them 3 and 4 times. Did you get? I said, wait a minute. You said you're a successor. Your boss is not going to call you 3 times. Oh, I overslept. No, it's 2 strikes and you're out. We've had to dismiss students who did not follow the guidelines, 2 unexcused absences, and you're out.
Wow, that must be hard.
It's hard, but we can't push them out there, Blake, into a real world that would chew them up and spit them out. We'd rather do it here.
Well, let's wrap up with this because, this story that we heard through this hour of your own really punishing experience, having to, kind of sleep on couches through your time at Fisk, beg people to let you come into class and, try to figure out how you'll get credit for it later and walk in a suit to your internship at Caterpillar Financial. Obviously we want to make life easier for the next generation, but you also talk about how pain is preparation. Like, is there something that's taken away from kids by giving them a hand, even the kind of hand that you're providing? You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, and you struggle with it. I'm a girl dad, right? My daughter knows how to look at me and dad. I'm like, no, look away, Demetrius. And I've experienced this a little bit more this year where a student had to come back and apologize to me. Had a little bit of privilege. I've been with him 4 years and took advantage of some things, and I reached out to him, no response. And I finally sent him an email and said, just a real professional email about how I felt he handled that. And he didn't respond. He just called me last week. Apologized. He's working at an amazing job right now. And he said, man, I learned I did not do that right. And so the skills that they need and the pampering and trying to baby them, it's not really the way to go. When we have students who just graduated in April, still looking for jobs, and they call us, I say, welcome to the real world. There are people trying to feed their families. And now you're out here. So we want to make sure that you have all the skills. We want to make sure that pain you go through. Remember, I would not be sitting here. If I graduated in 4 years at Fisk, there would be no Steps of Success 5K. There would be no 50-50 mentoring program. There would be no crazy black guy at Shelby on September 13th in a suit and all these crazy people in suits and sneakers. There would be no $80,000, and there will be no next 25 cohort of students ready and hungry for the world, but needs a Demetrius Short and Transformation Life Center. So the pain has a purpose. Everyone who loses someone, sometimes it inspires them. My nephew is autistic. I've never heard him speak. Blake, I want to hear my nephew speak. But it's through my experience which makes me involved and send my donation to the Autism Foundation. It's not just about me. There's so many different, Susie Bean Coleman, right? Breast cancer and colon cancer and all these things. To my listeners, whatever your pain is right now, could it possibly be that this is your assignment to do something and be the change agent for what you think is trying to destroy you? It may just very well be making you into the version of the of the person you need to be.
All right,
to help change the world.
All right, we're wrapping with an altar call. How appropriate. Demetrius Short, thank you for joining us on This is Nashville.
Thank you, Blake. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville is a production of Nashville Public Radio. Our managing editor is Tasha A.F. Limley. Board operator is Liv Lombardi. The masterminds behind our theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. You can listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get good podcasts. Also, just ask your smart speaker to play the latest episode. The conversation doesn't have to end here. You can comment and tell us what you want to hear on the show by leaving us a message at 615-751-2500. You can also find us on Blue Sky and Instagram and X at This is Nashville. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.